All right, so I'm going to cover a little bit more broadly what are stakeholder processes, what stakeholder processes have occurred in Colorado in the past, and then I'll touch on some of the same stakeholder groups that Leah has with a little bit of a industry, local government, NGO perspective as sort of how we believe, or I shouldn't say we, how those groups have expressed those processes have occurred through the first year. And so my first sort of comment is that I echo everything that Leah has said, and that other parties certainly believe that these stakeholder processes present a great opportunity for collaboration between industry and regulators and other interested parties such as local governments and NGOs. They provide an opportunity to really understand very complex engineering-specific processes and issues, and have the opportunity to those collaboration efforts allow for the opportunity to not have strict regulatory regimes that may or may not target what is ultimately helpful for everybody, for all interested stakeholders. So I mentioned that I'm going to talk about a past stakeholder effort, and that is the Colorado's storage tank guidelines. I'll briefly walk through what those are, what they came from, what they do, and sort of unknowns about those. I'll touch on the SURE task force, our pneumatic controller task force, and then I'll talk about our expectations for the new year, and then I'll for the next year rather, I'll end with a fourth task force which is related to ozone, and that's where we're headed. So Colorado regulation number 7 creates a general duty for oil and gas operators to minimize tank emissions, storage tank emissions. Now, that is kind of a very broad, not extremely clear general duty as to what exactly does that mean. And the division has taken the position that can mean no venting or leaking from storage tanks. And so in an effort to clarify that regulatory provision, industry and the division came together to form a storage tank work group and eventually developed storage tank guidelines. These guidelines are targeted to improve VCS performance, address VCS and tank overpressurization, and create, and this is the goal, create regulatory transparency for the design, operation, and maintenance of tank batteries and vapor control systems. So I think it was over a 2-year process to develop, to get to the final storage tank guidelines. What those